Has anyone else been getting used to the 2 week gaps, between fairy tale chapters? I don't know. I feel like the first week is pretty easy, and then the second week I feel like it starts to get a little bit weighing down. I think it's just because of the fact that you get close, and that's when the anticipation sets in. That first week you don't even think about it, and then rolling in, it just starts to really get on your head. But anyway, let's just go over some my predictions for chapter 25 of 100 Years Quest. And the very interesting thing, I have a lot of predictions coming forward for this, beyond this, when they actually get to Drasil and give information of Alderon. But my first thought was, in the last chapter of why would they go to go to Toka City before they go to Drasil? There has to be some form of purpose before they end up going to this new place. There has to be something that they're going to have in Toka City that will play a key factor in, maybe not in the 100 Years Quest, but really in the story itself. And you got to think of what exactly it could be. Is it going to affect the future? What is the purpose essentially of why they're going to have a pretty much a pit stop? Getting there and then taking the train, going over to Drasil, where there's allegedly information on Alderaan. And the reason that I think that they're going there is, what do we know outside of the dragon gods? Because we know that if it was just the dragon gods only for this 100 Years Quest, then we would just cut from probably location to location of where the dragon gods are, maybe some training in the between them. But what I see it really going for is the fact that Touka is on the way. And the fact that Touka's on the way makes me think that the confrontation with Touka and Natsu's team is going to be in Toka City. And once we see that confrontation, I feel like there's going to be a lot of eventual kind of like roundups of character interactions in some very interesting ways. I legitimately have a theory that a large existence of Toka's character is going to be to finalize a lot of ships. Because you're going to think about kind of like the main characters of Fairy Tail. We already have obviously this cast, and maybe not, I guess would say main, but some of the ones relating to the main set, like Juvia to Gray, Jalal to Urza. You have obviously Natsu and Lucy. And what exactly happened recently regarding all of them? Obviously, a lot of these people were dealt with by Touka, and once all the Sting's team and the members of Sabretooth showed up to the guild, they're like, nobody's here, we don't know where exactly anybody is. And unless Touka somehow like absorbed their being or something weird, I feel like similar to how she had a level of manipulation on Mercephobia, that she might have a level of manipulation on the Fairy Tail members. And we could get some really interesting kind of like matchups if she's controlling them to an extent. Once she confronts them, she could have Gray fight Juvia. She could have Natsu go against maybe Laxus again, but also the fact that Toka's there. Toka's a thing for Natsu that might eventually, help further push Natsu and Lucy's relationship. Because we know if you read recently, Hiroshima had an interview and he talked about how he obviously teasing ships is something that a lot of big shonen guys like to do. Hiroshima enjoys doing it, but he's like, obviously the main story's over, and well, you can't really say the main story's over because this is really just a continuation of it. It's not like some far in the future thing. Pretty much the fact that it's had a point where he's like, all right, they need to start hooking up and start getting together, and some of them we know are already border on there. We know Natsu and Lucy, they're still very close, but they haven't had a big romantic moment between the two of them that really has been solidified in anything. We know Juvia and Gray had a big development piece in the Alvarez arc. We don't need to go over exactly that is. Jalal and Urza both know about each other, but the whole issue is Jalal's kind of still like doesn't think that he deserves Urza. And I feel like throughout this arc, because of this, there's going to be some development between all these, and I feel like this is going to be the best time for it. Not only that, I feel like the fact that Touka now is bringing Fairy Tail, like the other members, into the 100 Years Quest, that some of them might join in. And obviously, and not only that, if Sting and Rogue join in as well. We're going to have multiple Dragon Slayers. The only one that's going to be left out at this point is going to be Cobra. We don't know what's going on with Cobra, so we can't really say. And there's stuff forward in this. I have a whole theory with Kana and the mutant dragon goddess Selene, which I'll go over in a different video. But I just have this big kind of like suspicions that there's going to be a lot of interesting matchups, and it's not going to be like when Juvia and Gray had to go against each other when it was when they were being manipulated by Invul and his Ice Lock. Obviously, Gray's going to be fully out, and it's going to be like the weird manipulation piece that Toka seems to have. And maybe they're going to be fighting to incapacitate him. Maybe that Toka's going to give him an ultimatum, and maybe like Natsu does something and I let him go. I just feel like in this next chapter, the largest thing that's really going to happen is a confrontation between these two groups. Because again, otherwise, why would Toka City be a point that they're going to have a in-between portion of Dragon Gods? Because it seems like we're going to have Dragon God centered story arc, something between, obviously Toka's a thing, and then getting back to another Dragon God, and we'll probably get more members of Diablos once we get there, because it wouldn't make as much sense for the members of Diablos to be there right now. I feel like maybe once we get into that confrontation and the fight with them, that they might show up because they want to, they already have suspicions and information on Toka, the White Witch that messed with Mercephobia, and they want to get the power that she took from him, and it was like his power of like restriction and being able to hold himself back. He's obviously was either like very weak or he was out of control. But whatever it is, that kind of like essence of Dragon God power that he lost that did that to him, she has. So obviously they're going to show up to fight her at some point. I think that'd be a really good point for them to kind of split up the arc and or not the arc, the confrontation when it happens, and maybe the Dragon Eaters could work together in a way with Natsu and Koka, because they don't seem evil right now. They don't have any plans that really make them out to be villains. They just kind of seem like assholes. But we'll see how that goes. I just think that this would be definitely a good confrontation of the two sides, and a good way of really also initiating like Toka as a threat, as well as all these other interesting character interactions. Again, of her controlling the guild members would be a really nice kind of, again, display of what she's capable of. But also, even if she shows and she seems very powerful, as well as not only in her own strength and her own abilities, but also in who she's controlling. Even like where a lot of the Team Natsu is, Jalal and Laxus are both still really powerful. I mean, legitimately, Laxus, without Dragon Force, Natsu can't take Laxus right now. I think that him with Dragon Force is definitely stronger, but without it, Laxus just seems more powerful. And we don't even know the status of Natsu. Can use Savage Dragon Fire again? And Gray, obviously, we don't know how much he's developed. Wendy's still pretty strong, obviously. Urza's strong, but I don't see Urza being more powerful than Jalal. Jalal is just way too rounded of a wizard for her to defeat. Like Urza's very straightforward, and even her two best armor equips, her fire pants, the cloth one. All that does is increase speed and offense's capability, which isn't going to help too much with Jalal, given how much variety he has. And her Nakagami armor obviously would be a big threat to Jalal, but she's never shown to be able to hold it for that long. It's a huge consumption in her magic. So I am very much more interested in exactly what could come of this chapter for like weird aspects like that, again, confrontations rather than like crazy action. I already assumed that once we get to a Dragon God, we're always going to have awesome, crazy action and lots of really fun stuff. But in between that, the character interactions, I think, are much going to come much smoother and be much more unpredicted, essentially, because we don't know a lot of the ways that some of these characters will be. Like, especially when Lucy is being, face to face with Toka, and we see Toka, expressing her affections for Natsu, because we know the human normal Toka like is in love with them, and the White Witch version seems to have affections for him, and I think it'll be very weird for Lucy at that point when she sees this, and maybe like she'll start to get really jealous, and then maybe like realize her own feelings. Maybe we'll get a part of Toka like questioning how she feels about Natsu and how Natsu feels about her. Who knows? But we'll find out in a few days. Definitely looking forward to that. Really looking forward just to seeing like what moves forward, because again, the Dragon Gods, they all have their own spice and flavor to them, but I think we can all kind of like make out an idea of what exactly they're doing and what we might see with them. Toka is a complete mystery, and that's the really interesting thing about Toka and her group right now. Liberaris, I think it's how it's pronounced. Like the Dragon Eaters and Diablos are really cool too. I'm very much interested in them and how they came to be in their story. But Toka is definitely the mystery figure in all this. She's definitely the wild card. She's the one that will cause the most most chaotic portions, I think, of the series, or at least of this arc, rather, or story, because each one feels like it's going to be their own different chunk. I guess it's going to be like one saga, and then pieces to that saga, I guess we could say, for 100 Years Quest. I don't know. But other than that, drop a comment below on what you think about this. This is a bit longer than my normal predictions because unlike the other ones where it's more of like action based and a lot of smaller bits, I feel like this is going to be a very large, very kind of large peeling of what we're going to get between characters and how they develop moving forward. Other than that, drop a comment below on what you think about my theories and my prediction for the next chapter and what you think are going to happen, and how you feel about this all happening in Toka in general. I really like Toka. I know people getting a little annoyed that we haven't seen a lot of Toka lately, but I think that adds to the mystery of Toka and it's just the level that like excitement that comes whenever she shows up on panel, because she's very mysterious. We don't know anything about the White Witch other than like her group, and she's shown up recently because Zeref's gone and whatnot. Other than that, I really appreciate if you would thumbs up the video, press the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I really appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.